right, so I've got Ron Pare dialed up on Skype here. Let's go to Ron. So, Ron, thanks a lot for joining me here. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, John.
Yeah, it's really great. We've little backstory here. We've known each other for a few years now. We were kind of dabbling with doing videos about games a while back, and it was a lot of fun actually. If you look for it, you can probably still find we had a 45-minute interview or something that you broadcast one day.
Yeah,
That was a lot of fun.
yeah. We were going to start a gaming podcast. I don't know why that was. I'm afflicted by this gaming thing.
It's an escape from the modeling, maybe?
Well, I think all these different facets are escape from real life.
Right, exactly. So,
Healthy, some not.
right? So, Ron was nice enough to record the intro on the podcast last month. And just in case you don't know, Ron's a custom model builder, and he also runs the Modelers Guild, which is a page on Facebook, right?
Yep.
So, we're going to talk for a few minutes here on the podcast since people seem to like the interview idea. So I'll ask some questions and let's just have fun with it, right? So Ron, I guess one of the easiest questions would be, when did you start building models? How long ago? Like, how old were you?
It was in 2008. I started building my first model. Full steam ahead, the farmer's market.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a quick succession of about 4 Craftsman kits I built late 2008.
Okay. Were those plastic then, or?
No, I started with wood,
Okay.
surprisingly enough, and I've stuck with it ever since.
Nice. What do you enjoy most about building models?
Um, well, I like digging into a project that, like I like to copy pictures. I like to capture a scene as well as I can with materials that have nothing to do with, the subject I'm working with, and it's just a thrill for me to, a healthy thrill, which is something new for my life.
Something that I've noticed, yeah, something that I've noticed watching you work, because I have watched some of your videos here and there when I have a chance to, is that you seem to really get into a zone with it where you're just into the model. And I know that from experience, because this happens with me when I do video work, and especially when I'm editing something, I really just get into it where any distraction could be a huge thing to me. And I'm so focused that time passes and I don't even know how long I've been doing it at some point. Does that seem to happen for you? I mean, it looks like it just watching from the outside.
Yeah, and actually I have live streamed long enough that people have come into the room and I've had these headphones on and I'm in my own world and I get startled to the point of, maybe sounding angry, but it's like, it's like I'm getting pulled out from underwater or something like that. I coming out into the air. It's like,
Yeah, so the zone is real, isn't it?
oh, for sure. It's totally encapsulating. I
Yeah.
don't even know if that was a word, but yeah, I gave that one to you, John.
No, that is a word, and I know what you mean. So you're in a bubble, basically. You're in your own world. So
So, and as an example, here's a model that I recently did. Showcase miniatures.
oh right, yeah, we showed this one a little bit on your intro.
Yeah. Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. I got this one I just finished right now. I brought out some show and tells.
Yeah. Oh, this is nice.
Yeah, this is a company that I've never heard of before, right on track models, and
Okay.
I thought it was a really fun and easy to build kit. So yeah.
That's really cool. So I have a question, because you mentioned this on your intro, and we talked about it very briefly here a minute ago. What are some of the challenges with wood models that maybe plastic modelers don't have to deal with?
There's a point in wood where you can put too much moisture on it. So there's a little bit of time you have to put pieces aside, and it becomes an assembly process where you're building different parts of the kit all in one part, and that's not something that you start off doing, but that's what I do now, and I find it totally enjoyable. And so plastic, I feel like, I would start on each piece and just finish it before I move to the next one. Where wood, it's just like a spread of the whole kit.
So it's more of there's not as much dry time maybe for plastic or something like that.
Yeah, well, the drying is a little bit more simplistic because there's no embedding into the plastic, where like some woods like balsa will actively soak in the water, and it will disform on you, unless you take proper steps of bracing and stuff like that. So
Right. Yeah, actually wood swells with moisture, right?
yeah, and this is a point that I'd like to bring up, is that a historical discussion was always, should I brace my wood? Which is a subject that has come full circle to, so back in the solvent days, the flow quill days, you could get away with not bracing balsa and these woods that will soak up the stuff. You could get away with it. But now we have water-based paints. So that argument has kind of, has gone away. It's changed over time.
Right.
So now it's a water-based paint palette. So you really do need to brace this wood now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that probably watching one of the videos, people can understand better what you're doing in terms of bracing and all that. Because you talk about that on the videos, right? I think I've seen you explaining why you're doing certain things as you do it, which I think is really instructional for people. I like that a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot, like I'll admit, there's a lot of dead time in my videos because I'm doing a project that takes 50 hours to do. Right? So I'm not doing all 50 hours on camera, but each video I want to at least share at least 5 great tips, you know what I mean? So I'll take historical examples into a kit to further describe stuff, and there's live chat going on at the same time, so it's a Q&A kind of back and forth.
Sure. Now that brings me to the next question, because I've seen normally you have on a shirt that says Modelers Guild, right? That has the logo, which is a cool logo, by the way. Why don't you talk a little bit about Modelers Guild? What is it and how do people get involved?
The Modelers Guild started out as a blog, turned into a website, thought it was an e-magazine for a while, got hacked about 4 times.
Oh, you're kidding.
And now, while all that happened on the outside, in Facebook it constantly grew as a group, right? So outside of Facebook, the Modelers Guild was something, and it was kind of like, that bipolar stepchild. And it just went all over the place. But in Facebook, it's now an 8,000 plus member group, and it is known for being a structure or scenery oriented model railroad group. Like we accept models of all kinds. We're not large scale models. There's lots of people doing these scenes in New York City with like the dumpsters and garbage underneath. It's like they're actually making crushed cans. It's remarkable. So the Modelers Guild group is basically a group that shares top-notch modeling. We totally accept whoever comes in, but a lot of great modelers are part of the group. And recently we started a little mentorship program there, and which is a kind of new thing that Facebook put out. Like Facebook put out this mentorship program for groups like ours, and we totally embraced it. And we have like 25 or 30 high quality mentors that we join up for people, and it's like a 10-week program. And
Huh. Well, that sounds pretty cool. That sounds like something that I might even want to get involved with when I start trying to build stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because and you know, I have noticed, because I joined Modelers Guild because of what I do. You know, I don't consider myself a modeler yet, really. I mean, I've built models when I was a kid and so forth, but I'm not nothing like what you do. We'll put it that way. Although I could see really getting into that, because the amount of detail and all that that you go to, and you know, weathering one board at a time on a structure or something, or on a deck. I remember one of the first things I ever saw you build was some kind of a seaside scene. It was like a dock or something. And I remember just looking at that going, wow, he is getting one plank at a time on this dock side. It was so intense, and I was just like, this is like really making it look realistic. Do you know what I mean? So that was one of the things that originally when I contacted you, was because I saw you doing that, and it's like, this guy is really, you know, really being detailed on this stuff, and it was just really impressive to watch. So, but maybe I'll look up that modelers. What did you call it? A mentorship.
Yeah, Modelers Guild Mentorship Program. It should be one of the links on the side if you're a member. I can't, I see it at times, I always lose it. It's a new program, and Facebook has linked it, and they take care of the, you know, the tech side, and we take care of the mentors.
Yeah, that's really great. And I have noticed on Modelers Guild a lot of very skilled models or modelers come up. I see these pictures and you do a double take, you know, oh, wait a minute, that's real, right? Oh, no, it's not. It's, and you look and you're like, okay, so now you can tell. So,
Yeah. I think also you'll notice that there are a lot of international modelers out there, and a lot of them are on Modelers Guild. Well, they're also on another group called Weathered Models, and I'd like to give them a shout out, because holy smokes, they don't do model railroad based stuff. They're kind of like a military based kind of thing, and holy smokes. But we've got international modelers from Indonesia, all over Hong Kong, Australia, Iraq, Turkey, all over the world. It's actually a lot of fun seeing, you know, what other people are doing, and I don't know. It's a
you know,
lot of fun.
it's interesting. And I just thought of something as you were talking about that. It seems to me that modeling can be thought of a lot like how people think of music. It's one of these things, or maybe sports. It's one of these things that can transcend borders and bring people together in ways that otherwise it wouldn't happen, right?
Absolutely. I've interviewed a guy in Taiwan, Baghdad, Iraq, and somewhere in Turkey, and two people in Turkey, and all of us use modeling as our way to get away. You know, we're all, you know, breadwinners. You know, we're all bringing bread into the family, and you know, we all need our time to go and relax. You know, turn the radio on and relax, and you know, modeling is a healthy way to do that. You know.
Sure. So I got a question. You don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but I'm curious because you do have the headphones and you're listening to something. So what is your favorite? You're listening to music, right?
Yeah.
So what's your favorite band to listen to when you're doing your modeling?
My favorite song that I always start with is Boomtown Rats, I Hate Mondays. I can listen to anything, though. I sometimes throw the CBC, the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation radio station, that was a mouthful, and listen to
easy for you to say.
Classical music in the morning, jazz in the afternoon, and you know, pop at night. You know, I'm open to it all.
So if you listen to heavy metal, do you tend to do the brush strokes a little harder?
I am definitely listening to heavy metal at times.
All right. Well, I got to wrap this up here, but I really enjoy the conversation. I'm really thinking about making these interview things into their own show. We were talking about this off camera, but I want to share this with the viewers. I'm thinking about making this interview thing into its own thing, like a 30 or 45-minute show. And of course, it'll depend mostly on who's willing to do it. But I'm going to ask the viewers if you think you would like that. put a message in the comment section below. And I want to ask you, Ron, one last thing before we go, which is where can people or what can they do to see your videos, and how can they support what you're doing? Because I think that's also very important.
Thank you very much. I can be found at Just Another Scale Modeler on YouTube. And to support me is patreon.com/Ron Pare, where I've got 12 or 13 supporters there, and you could be one of them.
All right, cool. So everybody, that's Ron Pare from Canada, all the way from we're an international show, man. All right, thanks so much, Ron, for hanging with me for a minute here, and we'll talk to you soon. All right.
Thanks for having me, John.